more people coming in. That's great.
That's wonderful. Look at this.
Yeah.
Adams is joining us. Carol Grey Eyes.
That's great.
While you're waiting, consider this question: what does reconciliation mean to you? And if you'd like to, put something in the chat. This is so great to see all of you here with us tonight. My name is Stephen Walschmidt, and I'm the Artistic Director of Burnt Thicket, and it's such a privilege to be with you tonight. Tim, do you want to introduce yourself and then do some other introductions?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm Tim Bratton. For those who don't know, I'm the Artistic Associate for Burnt Thicket Theatre, and on this particular project, I am doing all of the audio editing and recording. So I've been able to be intimately involved with all of the wonderful scripts and all of the great artists that we're working with. So yeah.
Yeah, and we are so excited to be premiering the first episodes of We Treated People today, and very grateful to have you here with us to celebrate this new series of audio dramas. I might just go around the room and name folks who are involved with our company or with the series, and you can give a wave. We've got Brooklyn Bittner, our marketing associate, who's behind the scenes, and
she's literally hiding behind.
I'm waving, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's hiding behind all of the graphics that you see on that screen.
Yeah, and one of our playwrights and directors, Yvette Nolan, is with us, who's also our production dramaturg, and we will be chatting with Yvette shortly. We also have Lisa Bayliss, one of our actors from The Yard with the Old Plow, and Shanda Stephenson, the playwright of Yard with the Old Plow. We've got Jennifer Dawn Bishop, who's another one of our playwrights and directors, going to be appearing later in the series. And we've got Rod Schallenberg, one of our board members, and Jessica Isaac, another one of our board members. Our producing associate, Julissa Campos, would like to be here. She went into the hospital yesterday to have the birth of her first baby. And I've been checking social media. I see that a family member has posted something. Congratulations to her and God bless you. And so I don't know the details yet, but after the meeting, I'm going to check social media again and see if there's anything posted. But sounds
Steve,
like
as you did the rounds, you overlooked Carol.
Carol Grey Eyes. I'm so sorry. One of our directors and dramaturgs and actors as well. It's so great to have you with us. Thanks, Tim. I'm sorry.
Especially
Carol.
since Carol was brave enough to she was recruited into the acting initially was just there to just provide the support that she did in different ways. So, but it was wonderful to have her reading on that script. So
yeah. Carol was giving dramaturgy for the Remnant script, and Curtis Pitatus added another role, kind of in the process of writing it. And so Carol read those lines, and then Danny Knight was like, I think we need Carol to act in this.
You got it. You nailed it. That's great.
And we look forward to have you direct another piece later in the season. The series. I also want to bring a greeting from Danny Knight, our community outreach associate. He was hoping to be here, but he has a comedy performance gig tonight. So I want to start by just saying while this is a virtual launch party, many of us are gathering on Treaty 6 territory and the ancestral homeland of the Métis. And it looks like most of us are here on Treaty 6 tonight. I'm thankful for the relative warmth of the day today and the color of the sky tonight. I'm grateful for the return of spring to the land. We are treaty people. As a company, we commit to work to honor the spirit of the treaties, to collaborate respectfully with descendants of the original caretakers of these lands, and to participate in positive systemic change. We're grateful for the gift it is to create theater on this beautiful land that we share, and we'd like to encourage all of us to continue our learning journeys toward truth, reconciliation, and growing as peacemakers in our nation and our neighborhoods. And we are so happy that each of you is here with us tonight. We're happy to have a whole bunch of our We Treated People artists with us. And we're going to hear from Yvette Nolan in just a couple of minutes. But first, we'd like to share a video with you.
What does it mean to live together?
On this land.
In this place?
Burnt Thicket Theatre presents
We Treaty People. Audio dramas exploring what it means to embrace all our relations. And now, recorded on Treaty 6 territory, we bring you We Treaty People.
Premiering April 22nd at burntthicket.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
It has been so fun to hear people respond to that trailer, and I want to just say thanks to all the artists who contributed together to create that little video promo, to the playwrights, actors, and directors who took videos of themselves on land that they feel a connection to, and to the musicians, Daryl Dozlaw, Jordan Daniels, Mark Okisita, and Donnie Speedell for creating the original music, to Amanda Trapp and Tim Bratton for narrating, along with Tim's audio production, and to Brooklyn Bittner for editing it all together. Right now, we want to just chat with Yvette for a few minutes about some of the questions and some of the ways that our conversations with artists have been exploring themes of fear and bravery. And Yvette, I just want to welcome you again, our production dramaturg for the whole series. I think of a script dramaturg as sort of like a story coach or a midwife for the playwright giving birth to this new story or play, and a production dramaturg like a mentor or a midwife for the whole production, guiding how the process unfolds, how the audience engages with the performance, and with the meanings that are explored throughout. It's been such a gift to have you with us, Yvette, and your presence and wisdom in guiding us as we have worked together on this series. I don't know if you want to, do you have anything you want to start with as we chat? What's coming up for you?
Just, thanks, gratitude for being for being invited into this process, and for, we were going to talk about brave space.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that even this basic relationship between you and me around the series has required bravery. And, I want to give you big props for that, Stephen, because they haven't always been comfortable conversations. And I think part of reconciliation is for us to be able to have these kinds of conversations in an honest way, in an open way, without fear of being judged, or fear of making a wrong move, fear of asking a wrong question. I don't think there are wrong questions. I mean, for me at this stage of my life and my career, I'm like, I just want to facilitate these kinds of conversations between people. And so that, for me, We Treaty People has been very much about that process, and the way we've built the whole project to be welcoming and inviting to everybody from all walks of life, and be generous with all of the questions and all of the challenges. And so I am grateful for that. I'm grateful to you and Burnt Thicket and Tim, and just the way the whole project has unfolded.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I love that, what you said about like making it a generous space for everyone from any kind of background, any kind of perspective, but inviting each person to learn more, or to take a step forward. Yeah, if anyone here in the Zoom room has listened to the artist's interview with the Yard with the Old Plow artists, you know that Yvette and I have been talking a lot about how so many of us, but even just people that we know are fearful about talking honestly about truth and reconciliation. And I know that as I heard the recording of like some of us chatting afterwards, I was a little like embarrassed. I'm like, man, I'm more anxious than I thought I was. You know, it was like our first artist interview, and there's like, I'm trusting and believing this is going to be so meaningful. But another part of me is like, what's somebody going to say, and how do I respond to it? And you know, what are people going to hear when they listen to it, and what are the people going to think? But yeah, I guess it's been so meaningful to take the risks involved in having these important conversations. And I think, well, yeah, I as I have leaned in and sought to really truly listen and seek to understand, I have found so much hope and actually joy in that process. And yeah, I wonder, um, as you think of, I guess, the phrase brave space, what do you, I guess, what would you call us to, or call listeners um, to seek to practice or cultivate in holding space bravely for other people?
Yeah. There's been, in the last few years, there's been a lot of talk about safe spaces.
Hmm.
And um, and I think there's a difference between safe space and brave space. I think we need to be leaning into brave spaces, because safe doesn't mean comfortable. It feels to me like we need to be, sometimes these conversations are going to be uncomfortable. And certainly some of the pieces that we've been working on in We Treaty People are going to make some listeners uncomfortable. And that goes on both sides of the equation, whether they're Indigenous listeners or non-Indigenous listeners. I think there's the space for people to be uncomfortable and to listen. But like all good theater, right? Like the whole purpose of theater is to be able to see someone else's experience and create empathy and have empathy for someone else's, like something that you may not know or ever experience, and be able to be empathetic or create empathy for that person. And I think that is a big thing that we've been trying to do with We Treaty People, is like create that theatrical experience in our heads and in our ears, so that the listener can be exposed to something that maybe they didn't understand before. Things that they've said or heard said at their dinner tables or with their relations, and never questioned, but put into the context of these plays. It's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. And that requires the engagement of an audience in a space that is brave. So, there's a certain safety in being able to listen to them, and not have to be sitting beside someone who may not be like you. But they can still be uncomfortable, challenging conversations, which I think the listeners will also find from listening to the artist discussions that go with the plays. Is like some of those discussions are also, I know, Stephen, you got nervous about some of the things the artists were saying in some of those discussions. And I'm like, let them speak. This is what it's like to be living together on this land.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I know, like Tim and I have talked to, the space we want to cultivate is with these plays, that we're opening space and we're opening up conversations rather than closing them down, or we're asking questions rather than offering, here's the answer that everybody needs. And in that way, like the challenging and provocative plays, I think, are going to push people in different ways, but it's I think they're going to offer everyone a sense of hope that there's more to learn and there's somewhere to go, and rather than, I don't know, staying in our fearful silos or whatnot. But, yeah. Tim, do you have anything that's coming to mind that you're like, oh,
Yeah.
remember to say that?
Well, and just to jump off of what you both have already talked about, and to say something I've heard you say, Yvette, is this concept of leaning in, and that's something I would invite our listeners to do, and to lean in, particularly when things are uncomfortable, because I think it can be our tendency to lean back as tensions emerge, or as things don't. Oh, I don't know. And instead, to take that opportunity and check with yourself, and lean in to hear, and see what you can learn, or at least start to explore. And I think that is a big part of what we're inviting people into, to lean into those tensions and to develop that empathy. And that, uh, you talked about comfort. I think that's a good way to, it's like, reconciliation is not necessarily comfortable. And that's okay. So we shouldn't expect that to be the case. And I even think of the most vital relationships that I have in my life, and those relationships are not always comfortable, but it doesn't mean I abandon them, whether that's friendship, or whether that's um, partners, or whether it's kids, or all these are things that you have to work through the discomfort for them to be meaningful, worthwhile relationship. And perhaps too often we've defaulted like, well, that's not comfortable, so I can't. Something must be wrong. Whereas, like, no, lean in, and that's how we get through this. And we don't necessarily have to ever even resolve all of the tensions that we feel, but we need to keep leaning in. And maybe the one other thought there off the back end of that is, I think a lot of the plays here that we're sharing through these audio dramas are about, to talk about that opening up space that you're talking about, Steve, is this sense of, we want to see these productions plant seeds for opening up new imagination for what is possible. I think there's hopefully some sense that people will have of coming to this kind of conversation. I think part of the discomfort around reconciliation, which again, in one of our conversations, we talked about how that can just become this word that feels very awkward. And what does it mean? But one of the things that I think a lot of us feel, and the discomfort we feel, has to do with, like, this is not working. Something's not working. And if that is the case, if we can agree with that, that's the case, that's part of the discomfort we all feel in these conversations, it's like, well, then we have to open up new possibilities. And that is part of what we're not, none of these plays prescribe anything. And theater's not at its best when it's trying to provide a didactic solution, but they are plays that I feel open up space for the possibility of new imagination. And that is what part of what gives me hope, and why I've enjoyed this work so much, is I see horizons that are opening up. And maybe the last thing to say in all this, and this has already been said in various ways, is that I really do think that it's important. This is something, Yvette, that you said in the conversation that you and Steve had in our introduction podcast, was like, we have to do this work ourselves. So the very making of this production has been reconciliation work, and so we've had to approach it in the right way. And it's something that I know we all continue to strive to make the way we do this work itself to be an act of reconciliation. And I know it's been a huge blessing just to get to know all the artists that we're working with. And that gives me great hope for the future of what reconciliation means, even just within this theater community that we're all a part of. Because I already now have new friendships that I'm like, I look forward to working with these people again, because it's good, and it's been meaningful. Yeah, and I'm super grateful for that. Anyway,
Yeah.
now I've talked too much. I'll stop.
No, that's great, Tim. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, Yvette, I'm really grateful for you being willing to share tonight and to be part of this. And if there is anything else on your mind, I don't want to cut you off, but I also want to respect everybody's
Yeah.
time and whatnot. But yeah.
No, because the work will speak for us now. Like, that's the great thing, is like the work is so so profound and so interesting and so diverse. I think that if people just lean into the work, then we don't have to talk anymore, the three of us, because we can talk forever, the three of
It's
us.
true.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yvette. Yeah. Tim, have you been looking at those?
I've been looking, and I'll just make some comment. I really appreciate you, Rod, talking about you posted this before we even started chatting, of reconciliation equals me seeing you, including your pain, and you seeing me, including my pain. I think that speaks beautifully to the sense of empathy that we really do want to generate through, and that I think storytelling of this nature is so good at hopefully creating, where we can see something and feel something that we wouldn't otherwise feel through our own perspective. And I'm also pleased to see Daryl here, who has been so helpful. And I know Daryl, one of the reasons I was so happy to include him is in the process of making the music for this. Not only is he a good friend, but he's walked his own path in terms of kind of doing meaningful music that embodies reconciliation. And I encourage you to check out more of the music that Daryl has made on his own, and that he's made with Indigenous artists here in Treaty 6 and here in specifically in Saskatoon. So go check out Daryl's stuff online if you look up Daryl Doslaw, or just tune in to the Reverend on the radio. Forget your what's the radio show? Spin Class? I should know this, Daryl.
It's just Green Eggs and Ham on Thursday.
Green Eggs and Ham? There you go. There you go. Tune in.
I initially I had this idea for a radio show, and so I called it that, and I made a theme and everything else, and then I got a spot on the Thursday morning, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to keep calling it what I kind of said it was going to be. So anyway.
It's good. You overthought it, Daryl.
Yeah,
I love it, and I love it.
Which is better than underthinking things.
Anyway, thank you, Daryl. Your music has been wonderful, and I've appreciated you and the artists you got. I need to get you and the other musicians in a room soon to chat about.
And that'll be such a fun conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be so good.
Yeah,
it'll be great. It'll be great. Well, one of the things we wanted to announce tonight is a little more about this giveaway prize. So we have been given a wonderful gift from Wanuskewin, a family pass for a group of up to 6 people to come into Wanuskewin for a whole day, as well as this beautiful artwork, this beadwork that is framed and created by June McCallum Garreau Jewelry Creations in Christopher Lake, Saskatchewan. Many of you know about Wanuskewin. Wanuskewin means gathering place, and it is a gathering place where First Nations have gathered for over 6,000 years. There's archaeological sites that are older than the Egyptian pyramids on that site. And Wanuskewin has plans to be recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2025. If you haven't been there recently, I highly recommend check it out. They've got a whole bunch of new exhibit space as part of the renovation that they've built. Museum, learning centers, art galleries, the gift shop, the restaurant is great with some bison burgers, as well as the beautiful walking trails. And for me personally too, Wanuskewin has been a place that I had heard about, lived in Saskatoon a couple of years, hadn't been there, and then was able to go there for one of the annual powwows that they hold maybe 6 years ago, and it was actually my first time in a powwow, and was just really moved by the experience. So I just want to say thanks again to Wanuskewin and to Alan Long, one of our actors, is also the director of development at Wanuskewin, for arranging that gift. So here's how you can be entered to win that prize. You can share We Treaty People on social media as much as you can between now and May 9th. Brooklyn's gonna track those shares and then enter everyone for a random draw on May 10th. So on Facebook, you can share a Burnt Thicket post for one entry. You can also tag us if you're posting something about We Treaty People at Burnt Thicket to tag us. In Instagram, you can tag a friend in the comments of a Burnt Thicket post. That'll get you an entry. Or you can get a bonus entry for sharing one of Burnt Thicket's posts to your story. And then on Twitter, you could retweet a Burnt Thicket tweet or tag us. So you can be entered as many times as you share the series. The reason we want you to share the podcast is because we want people everywhere to hear these audio plays and the artists' conversations, because we truly believe that they will contribute to positive change, both personal change for listeners and positive systemic change across Canada. And I don't know if you're familiar with Apple Podcasts, but Apple Podcasts has this new and noteworthy list that every week Apple Podcasts curates a list of new and noteworthy podcasts that are getting a lot of attention. And so the marketing gurus say, you got to get on Apple's new and noteworthy list. It's like the best way to get your work out in front of people who wouldn't otherwise come across you. But apparently 70% of podcasts right now are accessed on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So we want Canada to hear these stories, and we'd love to have you help us get these stories out there. Tim's right. We want you to reach your friends and in your circle and invite them to listen, but also by getting people to listen to the Apple Podcast versions or access it through Apple Podcasts, we're more likely to get it onto that new and noteworthy, which then would get it in front of more people. You can go to Apple Podcasts if you're not already on there, and you can follow We Treaty People on there. And if really you just want to get a free pass to Wanuskewin, it's quite valuable for 6 people to get in there.
Especially if you have not been. You will not regret it. It's a great
and if you haven't been there since the renovations, it's really stunning. Tim, what else do we need to say?
No, just a big thank you to all of you who are here as artists, and to all of you who have come, who just were curious. And we hope that you take the chance to listen and share it with as many people as you can, because this really has been meaningful work. All of us as artists, I think, aspire to do meaningful work, but this truly has been wonderful to be a part of, and we just want to share it now with as many people as we can. So help us do that.
Yeah, it's great.
Now it's the soft ending of people if they want to engage. So thanks. If it's time, you got to go. You've got another thing to go to, then go and be blessed. And if you want to hang out, we'll probably hang out for a bit. You can still post in the comments. Thank you for those who have been saying thank you and making nice comments about different things in there. You can take a look there. Daryl's posted his link to where you can find his music in there if you want to take a quick look at that. And otherwise, we'll hang out here for a bit for those who want to unmute and chat a bit. But thank you again so much.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Really appreciate it.